By clicking the Fair Results icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
News time, 7 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. If you pay insurance on a vehicle, home, or any other amenity, a Clinton insurance agent says you've likely seen those rates go up in the last 6 to 12 months. Jay Peterson is the owner of Peterson Insurance in Clinton and indicates rate increases are really a perfect storm of several factors. He calls it a hard market.
Well, we're in the middle of a hard market on personal lines. The big question we always get at our office today: why are my rates going up? I haven't had any claims. So what's happened here the last couple of years is it's been kind of a perfect storm for what we cause a hard market. The first thing is inflation. And then second thing is reinsurance markets. The reinsurance market, all insurance companies reinsure the top end of their losses. So they're different size companies retain different amounts of storm activity. So they may want only hold a $50 million per storm or a $200 million per year, and they reinsure that. Well, those companies, through all the natural disasters and things going on the last few years in our country, their costs they've raised it quite a bit, and also they're making companies retain more themselves. So they're passing it on to the consumers.
According to Peterson, there's been a lot of storm damage the last several years, and insurance companies are covering claims from those.
And then the other thing that's happening is just all the storm activity and the claims we've had. So, I mean, those three things together, a lot of states like Iowa right now is pretty well shut down for new business. They've been hit by storms. California's pretty well shut down.
You say shut down, what does that mean?
The companies just quit writing new business. So you can get it if you have it, and the state has an exchange for auto and home, but a lot of companies have pulled out of those states, and Florida's always been that way, and it's that way again now. But so the companies right now are trying to make some changes to prevent that from happening here in Illinois. I mean, Illinois is a very vibrant insurance marketplace. We have several large companies domiciled here in the state and lots of agents, and so it's very competitive. So it'll monitor itself, but they don't want to get in that position where we can't have marketplace or right companies. And some of our companies have locked down no new business till October just to avoid some of the storm activity going on.
Many insurance agents have likely had angry customers walk into their offices demanding the agent do something about the rates, or they'll find a new agent to do business with. Peterson understands the frustration, but says rates for every company are going up.
I mean, everybody's raising rates. I don't care what company it is. I mean, some are ahead of others, so you may be able to jump somewhere and save for 6 months or whatever, but down the road, all companies are going to be forced to raise rates to stay in business. I mean, you look at repair costs on homes. I mean, just look at what lumber's done since before COVID to now. I mean, prices have doubled, tripled, quadrupled, and then car prices. I mean, for the first time, and I've been doing this for 44 years, first time ever, used car values have appreciated. Insurance policies are designed for used cars to depreciate in value, not to increase in value. Parts prices, you go by some of these body shops here locally, even there's cars sitting around their lots full because parts availability. And the next thing that's happening is most rental policies on a car insurance policy may so much a day, but they have a cap of how much they'll pay. Well, those are maxing out for the first time in my experience ever because the parts are taking so long to get here. And then insurance companies, I mean, they have help too. So, I mean, their power bills are going up, their gas costs are going up. It's all relative to what's going on in our country right now.
Peterson is the chairman of the board of the Illinois Insurance Association of Independent Agents. He was recently informed for every dollar of vehicle insurance companies bring in, they pay out $1.10. He says for some it's more, others less, but feels it's indicative of what companies are dealing with. If you've been anticipating the information coming home for the fall flag football program at the Clinton YMCA, you're going to have to wait until the spring. Executive Director of the Clinton Y, Rennie Kluver, says they are transitioning the flag football program to the spring for a couple of reasons. The primary reason is the program conflicts with JFL football in the fall. He hopes this will allow more kids to participate.
And this is going to be, we'll be posting this within the week, probably by the end of this week, that because this is about the time that registration for flag football would begin.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had a parent that had reached out, maybe it was last week sometime, asking about registration for flag football. I was like, oh gosh, yes, we're looking at changing it.
Mm-hmm.
And more details to follow. Well,
Okay.
I've got more details, and there's going to be more to follow after what I am able to tell you, but I'm super excited. Again, going back to like the sprint try, the numbers every year seem to dwindle. Now with flag football, it just depends on the class size of the kids that we're getting. But with JFL, so JFL is offered, gosh, I think that it's third grade, or at least fourth grade through eighth grade.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a large number of kids that we would never see in our flag football program because it's the same time as JFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so mostly it was kindergarten, first, second, and third grade, and mostly K through second grade,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. But we want, and just as a coach in the school district with basketball, I always want the Y programs to help the school programs any way that we can.
According to Kluver, the other YMCAs have made this change. He likes the idea for several reasons. He explains they're going to take out a soccer session and replace it with flag football and just focus on fall soccer at the Y.
And some other Ys throughout the country have started doing this, where they actually host their flag football program in the springtime versus the fall. Well, for us, started looking at that going, gosh, what a great concept. If we could run it in the spring, take away our indoor soccer, which, to be honest with you and totally transparent, indoor soccer, we run soccer twice a year, but yet once they're done with fifth grade, there's no more soccer.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more soccer in the school district.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're running it twice.
Mm-hmm.
We want to focus on our fall soccer and make it better so that kids can become better soccer players, with the hopes that someday we'll be able to build that into the school system.
Mm-hmm. For Kluver and the YMCA, he hopes adding flag football to the spring will allow for collaboration between the high school football program and the Y to get non-spring sport athletes involved.
So with changing flag football to the springtime, what that does for us as a program and for the community and for the school district is it allows JFL kids to play flag football and to learn more skill development.
Mm-hmm.
And so I reached out to Coach Bass, our head football coach for the Clinton Maroons, and asked him what he thought about the idea, because we were going to move forward with it anyway, but we want to have a collaboration and say, hey, Coach Bass, you tell me what you want, how this program needs to look, so that we can tell that to volunteer coaches and parents and YMCA staff. And I would love to have any football players that aren't in spring sports to be a part of the program, helping ref games, helping coach, so that it's just full circle and should help the program in the end. And he's excited. He's like, I love this idea. So we're going to sit down. We haven't sat down yet to really look at how the program is going to be run, but we will be hosting that program, flag football, in the spring.
A couple of weeks ago on regional radio, we highlighted the YMCA holding off on its summer triathlon this year to sanction the event next year. Additionally, the Y is going to start to introduce volleyball programming in the near future. Given the wet nature to the start of July, you might think we were headed to a nice recovery from drought that plagued the start of the summer. However, that's not how July played out. Temperatures for July before the start of a significant heat wave last week were 2 degrees below normal. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln told Regional Radio that is pretty significant for July.
Yeah, we actually were trending well below normal and almost 2 degrees below normal average for the month, including the highs and lows, which, we had quite a few 70s for highs this month. Actually, like 4 or 5 days this month had high temperatures in the 70s, mid to upper 70s. Typically don't see that in July. So that pulled us back. So this heat wave is going to actually creep us, maybe we'll still end up probably 1 degree at least below normal for the month. But, 2 degrees below normal, that's significantly cooler than you would expect July. And then this heat wave kind of says, wait, hold on. Maybe I'll get you back up to normal.
Not only have the final days of July been rather dry in central Illinois, but drought conditions are returning, and they're starting to return to close to levels we saw in mid-June.
We started off with pretty frequent rain all the way through about the 8th, and the 8th was just about an inch of rain fell here in Lincoln, and I think DeWitt got some of that as well. But since then, we've only had really 1 day of measurable rain, and that's the 14th, where we had 0.68 inches. So, spigot shut off. We've really gotten, back towards the drought reestablishing again here, after that really wet June 29th all the way through, that first week of July. And now it's just kind of gone the opposite direction again. Feast or famine is set up here with the rainfall. Yeah, we're 0.9 below normal. 0.9 inches below normal. So just about an inch below normal for July. July is our wettest month, where we average about 4.5 inches of rain or so on average. But yeah, we're trending below, and not seeing a lot of rain coming even in through the first week of August here. So we're going to be seeing probably 3 full weeks of very little rainfall overall, except for just kind of pop-up showers and storms. We are going to need some moisture, because we're definitely still at a significant deficit when I'm looking at the 4-inch, 8-inch, and 20-inch soil moisture depths. We dropped really low very quickly again here. Both Springfield and Champaign are definitely below normal. Champaign significantly, the 80th percentile, nearing record dryness again at the 8-inch and the 4-inch. So even in the 20-inch, at all levels there. So the drought's going to really keep going unless we can really get some good rains coming in soon.
Looking to August, there will be some stretches of rain, but Shimon notes there's not a lot to indicate it will be drought-busting rains. We'll hear more from Shimon later this week on Regional Radio. News time, 19 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Monday. Plenty more to get to coming your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.
Looking for a new Silverado? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Yes, we finally have new Silverado inventory. We have Silverados in 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s with several trim levels. Custom, LT, RST, LTZ, and yes, high countries. This month, get an extra down payment assistance on all Silverados. Baum Chevrolet Buick. We have inventory. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
News time is 20 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. A new law in Illinois will work to transform the state's probation and supervised release system. The Reform Act was passed with bipartisan support, including all Republicans in the House. Starting in 2024, the probation system will incentivize people on parole to get a degree or career certification and strive to address supervision in a much more individualized approach. Governor J.B. Pritzker says of the 260,000 on supervised release, many go back to jail because they couldn't keep up with the finer points of parole.
In fact, more than 25% of people who are released from prison in Illinois end up back behind bars, not because they're recidivists, but instead for a non-criminal technical violation. That's not a system designed to improve public safety. That's not a system that's promoting rehabilitation. It's a system that values re-incarceration.
The Reform Act will also only require drug testing when suspicion warrants, and allows for virtual check-ins for parolees so they can better keep up with work, education, and childcare. Illinois will celebrate its second Sweet Corn Appreciation Day this week. The idea came from State Representative Tony McCumbee of Savannah.
Yeah, like anybody who is listening has ever planned an event. Your first event is all of the what ifs, get all the bugs out. And so that's really what that was. I mean, we didn't even send out a mail postcard last year just because there's nothing worse than having an event with a bunch of people showing up and then you're not prepared for it. So this year, not only, have we put it on Facebook, we've boosted it there. We actually sent out mail to remind folks of the event as well. It's a free family fun event. Some say, well, why would you do it on a Tuesday? Well, it's not about Tuesday. It's about August 1st, because that is the annual day for sweet corn. And you're starting to see pop-ups of sweet corn all around. So it should be, top of mind for everybody. So we definitely hope to have a lot more folks here this year.
Illinois Sweet Corn Appreciation Day is Tuesday from 4 to 7 p.m. at McCumbee Savannah office along Illinois Route 84. A record number of college scholarships are going to current and former youth in care of the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. Usually about 53 scholarships are awarded each year, but this time around, the total is 259. Governor J.B. Pritzker spoke at the scholarship luncheon, praising the strength the students have shown in overcoming seemingly unsurmountable obstacles.
And while the past few years of COVID chaos has wreaked havoc on every student's education, you have persevered in ways that only people who've gone through the foster care system can truly understand.
DCFS Director Mark Smith spoke to the recipients and urged them to face college head on.
Whatever your path, whatever your journey, embrace it. Be bold, take risk, enjoy. And when you come out the other end of your college and trade school experience, then start the next path.
The scholarship includes 5 years of tuition and fees at participating state community colleges and universities, a monthly stipend, and a Medicaid card. The Illinois Liquor Control Commission is warning about the dangers of drinking too much when temperatures are so high. Spending even a short time outdoors in excessive heat can be problematic, but when you add alcohol, the risks are even higher, says Commission Executive Director Lisa Gardner.
Alcohol acts as a diuretic, which causes the body to dehydrate even faster than when you're not drinking alcohol.
Gardner recommends drinking a glass or two of water for each adult beverage you have and limiting your time outside from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. when the sun's rays are the strongest.
The general rule of thumb is for every alcohol beverage that you have, you should drink a cup of water or a glass of water. I would go a step further to say that when the weather is extremely hot, as it's been lately, to increase that to even 2 cups of water, because it's a lot easier to stay hydrated than to get dehydrated, and then you're at risk for severe medical issues.
Gardner says if you start to feel dizzy or sick, you should get out of the sun, rest, and drink more water. A former Illinois congresswoman continues to push for the passage of the Next Generation Fuels Act. Sherry Busto says the measure would benefit the ethanol industry.
So we actually wrote this bill out of my office when I was serving in Congress a couple cycles ago. We introduced it at the end of my 4th term in Congress and then reintroduced it in my 5th term. And now this would be one cycle later. I'm not in office anymore. And the reason I have interest in this is because this is something that was a high priority for us. We wrote this, we worked with a lot of the different ag groups during that time. But basically, if I'm going to overly simplify it, which I will for the sake of this conversation, it requires blending higher grades of ethanol in the coming years. But to look at it even deeper, We've got the Environmental Protection Agency at the federal level, and we've got the manufacturers of vehicles, the main manufacturers of vehicles that are looking to go to this all electrical vehicle fleets in the coming years. What we're saying with the Next Generation Fuels Act is ethanol is part of the answer in the interim. We have 290 million vehicles on the roads right now that burn gasoline. And those are not going to 270 million, and those are not going to go away overnight. They burn about 140 billion gallons of fuel each year. And so what we're saying that if you took those vehicles that are going to be on the road for a number of years after we go to these all electric vehicle fleets, we can burn them a lot cleaner if we use even E15.
Bustos served in the House Ag Committee for 10 years. Among the aspects of the agribusiness recently studied in USDA research looking at concentration and what it means for market competition, the food retail sector, Rod Bain has this report. "29 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Monday morning. Coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. And the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance. Network news on the way.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. As congressional Republicans dig deeper into President Biden's possible involvement in Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings, today they'll hear from a key